Hi there, this is David from David Books and Comics, and today I wanted to show you some more of my omnibuses. These are some of the ones you've already seen. This is the Elric Saga Part 1, and you have here Part 2 and Part 3. I also showed the Morgaine Saga of three books that are published in this trilogy volume from the Science Fiction Book Club. But I also have several other omnibus series which I enjoy collecting whenever I find them. This is Michael Moorcock's Hawk Moon series, and the this is an American edition. Just look at the publisher inside, and you see there it is fantasy, but it's an alternate reality type of fantasy that Moorcock wrote. Um, so this was copyrighted in 1995. The interior illustrations are old from the original, some of the original editions from James Cawthorne, copyright. The cover art is by John Zalesnik, and so this is the first American edition, and here you have the listing of the Eternal Champion, the tales of the Eternal Champion that Michael Moorcock organized his vast opus, his all his works into this volume. And the stories of Dorian Hawkmoon are as follows: the Jewel in the Skull, the Mad God's Amulet, Sword of the Dawn, and the Rune Staff. So that's that. But I also wanted to show you some of the other fantasy material I have. And this is another UK author. His name is David Gemmell. And David Gemmell died in the 1980s. He was only 57. His books are, you could call them heroic fantasy. And this volume, this omnibus edition, collects three novels. One is called Legend. The other is called King Beyond the Gate and Quest of Lost Heroes. We'll look inside. This is a book club edition. Yes. So there you go. Those are the three books. The hero of these stories vary because the timeline um, goes chronologically, but there's like a span of a century between each of the novels, so they can be read separately, but they all take place in a similar fantasy world, a world of Drene. The cover art is by Ken Kelly, and that's one of the reasons why I bought the cover, because I like his artwork. It's one of the drawing factors to collecting books is the art on the cover. So the hero of the first story is Druss, who at that point in history is well past his prime. He's like 60 years old, but he has this, similar to the Elric stories, he has this kind of magical possessed axe called Draga the Slayer, which was at one time owned by his grandfather. The next story features King Beyond the Gate features another hero. His name is Tanaka Khan, And again, it's basically a story of the hero reclaiming his birthright, his throne. The next and third installment in this trilogy is called Quest of Lost Heroes, and it features four people. Four people as the main characters in the story. The main one is a guy named Karios the Blade Master. Then there's Belzer and Bowman Finn and another character named Magrig. So these are heroic fantasy, sword and sorcery type fantasy. Very good reads. Another series that I want to talk about, and I'm going to show you my Star Wars omnibuses, which are rare, and some of them are quite valuable and desirable these days. The first one is the Bounty Hunter Wars by K.W. Jeter. And this series, which I read, it almost reads like one giant novel, actually, as the stories flow one into the other. But it's based on the paperbacks, of course, and the first one is the Mandalorian armor, slave ship, and hard merchandise. Jeter is an excellent writer. He has written some very acclaimed SF stories. Well worth the read. Very competent, very excellent writer. Character builds throughout, and excellent plots and storylines. The next one I want to show you is one of the first Star Wars omnibuses that I found. Also a science fiction book club. This one's by Kevin J. Anderson. And this is the Jedi Academy trilogy. I've read it through a couple of times. And one of the appealing things about it, of course, is the return of the Jedi's. Basically starts off with Luke reclaiming, after Return of the Jedi, reclaiming and starting to train Jedi, which somewhat is captured in the last movies, the last three films, the last three Star Wars films that were shown. Many of the characters that show up in this story um, mainly yeah, um, are used in the Star Wars universe, even though the um, the current Star Wars universe has kind of repudiated some of the material that was written by subsequent authors and kind of created its own universe. Nonetheless, they still had the copyright to many of the characters created in this series, in these books that were written by several different types of authors, with the approval at the time of Lucasfilm and George Lucas. But this is a well-written series by Kevin J. Anderson, a very accomplished writer. The next one I'll show you is from it's also an omnibus edition. Move that. And this is Force Heretic. And this is from the New Jedi Order series. And there must be, I don't know, about 20 to 30 of these New Jedi Order books. The omnibus, of course, is uncommon, so it's not easy to find. And so it has collected three novels, the trilogy, Remnant, Refugee, and Reunion, all written by these two writers, Sean Williams and Shane Dix. And this is Science Fiction Book Club, uh, printing July 2003, cover art John Foster. So very surreal type cover art. Not exactly my favorite. The other Star Wars omnibuses I have are, for some reason, quite expensive. Um, these I found uh, uh, at Value Villages, actually. And this is the Young Jedi Knights, Star Wars, The Rise of the Shadow Academy. And again, Kevin J. Anderson. So he pretty much builds on his own universe that he established within the Star Wars universe. So this collects three novels, or you could call them novellas. They were aimed for young people, this series, and it has Heirs of the Force, the Shadow Academy, Lost Ones, Lightsabers, Darkest Night, and Jedi Under Siege. And what appeals to me about the Kevin Anderson material and is the Jedi. I was always enamored since the 70s of the laser sword wielding Jedi's. So that's that omnibus, and this is the second one. This one is called The Fall of the Diversity Alliance, and it features the covers from the original paperbacks. Um, and we'll look inside. And those are the 5 paperbacks that they collected: Shards of Alderaan, Diversity Alliance, Delusions of Grandeur, Jedi Bounty, and The Emperor's Plague. Let's see, it's this page. Just looking for the copyright information. Okay. So that's that one. And then there's the third one. And the third one is called Under Black Sun. Under Black Sun. And it has the last of the junior, or not, the Young Jedi Knight series. This is Return to Ord Mantell, Trouble on Cloud City, and Crisis at Crystal Reef. And again, all written by Kevin J. Anderson and Rebecca Moesta. And the last book that I want to show is by Gene Wolfe, also an omnibus edition, and this is the first omnibus edition of the Book of the New Sun, of the Adventures of Severian, the torturer that you see on the cover there. And uh, this omnibus collects 4 novels, all flow one, all can be read individually, obviously. All of them were actually long novels. They range from 320 pages, 300 to about 415 pages. And they are the Shadow of the Torturer, Claw of the Conciliator, Sword of the Lictor, and Citadel of the Autarch. And it has both the Book of the Long Sun, his other series. He's a unique writer, this fellow, Gene Wolfe. He credits his the Christian background with the inspiration for the story of Severian, and some liken Severian to a kind of Christ-like figure. But anyways, omnibus editions are hard to find, and they become, once released, even science fiction book club editions, they become uncommon very quickly. So I hope you enjoyed this little foray into some more of my Omnibus collection. Um, and if you did, give me a like, thumbs up, continue to subscribe. Thank you again for all those who've subscribed. And feel free to ask questions and make comments. Um, thanks. Bye.